Some points on foundations. Malaysians can set up Labuan foundations. Before 2010, there were some restrictions with respect to Malaysians using Labuan as a wealth planning structure or a jurisdiction. But today, those limitations have been removed. Malaysians can now set up foundations or even trusts for that matter, and Malaysian assets can form part of the Labuan Foundation's assets. I have the term subject to regulators' consent. That is because there's a provision in the legislation which says any form of only for Malaysian clients. If Malaysian clients are parking Malaysian assets into the foundation or even a trust for that matter, they will need to get the consent from the regulators, which is the Labuan Financial Services Authority, not your domestic regulators. Now, the reason for that is very simple. We've had discussions with the regulators and asked them for rationale or reasons why. This is because some of the Malaysian assets carry a lot of issues, such as real estate, where in Malaysia we've got different states having different policies and taking care of how land is to be transferred. So the regulators in Labuan don't have a specific procedure in giving this consent. They just want to know what you're parking, and whatever that you're parking has gone through the valid transferring process and mechanisms in the domestic scene. So if it's a Malay reserve land, or if it's a native land in Sabah and Sarawak, or if it's shares in the listed company, they just want to know you've gone through the various land registry you've met the various land registry requirements, or in the case of shares, you've satisfied the Bursa Malaysia's requirements. That is all they want to know. And if you can show that, then the regulators will give their consent. Now the purpose, as I've mentioned earlier, can be charitable or non-charitable. So a foundation, the legislation actually allows a foundation to engage in commercial activities. Now I've got an asterisk there. The reason being, at Kensington, we actually do not encourage our clients to use a foundation for commercial activities. This is simply because you want to think about eliminating risk. You want to use your structures purely as an asset holding vehicle. You do not want to use your asset holding vehicle and go on and make transactions and dealings and so on, because when things go wrong, then everything gets attached. So you want to go about this you want to assess your risk properly before engaging or using the foundation for all sorts of things. Yes, it can be used, but whether it should be used, it is something that we need to visit on a case-by-case basis. But the law allows for it to do. The duration of the foundation is very flexible. The legislation actually allows for the founder and the foundation to dictate how it wishes to dictate the duration or stipulate the duration as it deems fit. It can be fixed, or it can be subject to achieving its certain purposes. So upon achieving a certain purpose, the foundation can collapse. Taxation, for those of you who may be interested, it's only relevant if you use the foundation as a trading vehicle. If you're engaging in commercial activities and the foundation is making money, then the foundation is subject to the Labuan tax regime that applies to companies like, which is your 3% or a flat tax of 20,000 ringgit. This is something that we can discuss further. If you have further questions, you can come back to me. But it is only relevant if it is using as a trading vehicle. If it's using as an asset holding vehicle, as a pure asset protection mechanism, there is no taxation to be paid. Unenforceability of foreign judgment. This basically means, going back to one of my earlier slides where I mentioned a lot of Malaysians are going abroad and engaging in all sorts of business activities abroad. And as it normally does in most commercial or some commercial activities, things can go wrong and people start suing each other and so on and so forth. Assuming a Malaysian has a business overseas and they've got a presence overseas, let's say in London, and is being sued by his partner in London, and the courts in London have actually granted an injunction or an order to attach his assets, that order won't be valid in Labuan. It is not an automatic order that will attach to the assets that's being held under the foundation. although he is the founder, although he is the one who granted or passed the assets into the foundation. That order would need to go through our Malaysian court system first. It has to go through the Malaysian High Court system first before it can be imposed on the foundation. So this is provided for under the legislation.
At my website, you'll find online financial seminars, which is I call webinars. I do it regularly, and also a lot of online investment and financial courses, which is conducted solely online. So I'll be waiting for you at my website at KCLau.com. I wish you have a great day. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.